look, I often get this question, Edison, from my students. When I talk about salvation or spiritual liberation or enlightenment in various religions, they ask me, so how come the members of those religions should care about their spiritual enlightenment? Doesn't this sound egocentric? So the very aspiration to being with God as something good for you may already sound egocentric. And my answer to this is to distinguish between self and ego. So when Socrates says, know thyself, he does not mean know thy ego. We all know our egos and we all know our desires. But we are not aware our true self, which is egoless. That's, I think, what is meant when we say know thyself, and by knowing thyself you will know God, because yourself is different from your ego, and being yourself already means being for someone else. First of all, for God. So I think this way you avoid this dilemma between egocentric impulse and love for yourself and love for God. Look, let me just comment on this self versus ego topic from a different perspective, because coming from the Soviet background, Soviet totalitarian background, I was always taught to not be egocentric, be loving of other people, be within the community, helping others, etc., etc. And in the end, it turns out that those high aspirations were simply a veil to the aspiration of the dictator, of the tyrant, to stay in power.
A control mechanism. A control mechanism.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Control. That is a good sentence. That is a good way to put it. A control mechanism. So I think it is very important to distinguish between the true self-giving, which is a spiritual act, and the self-giving, which is a part of the control mechanism that is imposed to you from the tyrant, for example. And it is still a topic I'm thinking about. If you've read Kafka, The Metamorphosis,
that's amazing.
The question still stands for me because the main character of the story, Mr. K, is doing everything that is good. He helps his sister. He wants to help his family. He works like a horse. And, all this loving and self-giving turns him into an insect.
Right.
That was always a big question for me. What did Kafka want to say with this? Because self-giving by itself is a good thing, but with excessive self-giving, you may actually lose yourself and your purpose in life. And that's what happens with Mr. K. So maybe the answer to the question is in Baha'u'llah's insistence on moderation. Moderation is important in every aspect of human life, in maybe even in self-giving. Because when you give yourself too much to other people, they simply use you. And instead of growing spiritually, you deteriorate as a human being. So this is a very, very nuanced and complex balance to keep.